Do you want to improve your workflow in Logic Pro by learning 7 hidden shortcuts? Then let's get started. Number 1 is a shortcut to access the Automation Curve tool, which is this tool here in the tool menu. So I will show you how to use it first. You just go into any automation in the sequencer or in the piano roll editor here. Then you can access the Automation Curve tool to select a line here in the automation and drag up and down, left and right to shape the curve of the automation. But here's the trick. You don't have to change the tool at all. You simply have to hold down Control and Shift and watch what happens. The cursor changes to the Automation Curve tool, and you can do the same here without changing the tool. So that's number 1. Number 2, access the velocity tool in the same way. So let's go into this piano part here, and let's say you want to change the velocity levels here. Let's say on this note here. Well, you can of course select it and drag up and down here in the automation, but a quicker way is to access the velocity tool, which you can do up here again, velocity tool, but you don't have to. Hold down Control plus Command while you hover your mouse cursor above a note and watch what happens. Automation or velocity tool, so you can left click and drag down or up to change the velocity, and you can do this on several at the same time, several selected notes. So that's the second secret shortcut. Third is a really important one in my opinion. So as you can see up here, you have the first tool and the second tool. So the first tool is the left click, the tool, main tool, you have your cursor. But the second one is if you hold down the command. You can see I have the marker here, so the command. And of course you can have a different set of tools here in the piano roll editor. Now, you can actually get a third tool up here if you go into Preferences, let's see, General, Editing here, and then right mouse button is assignable to a tool, and watch what happens. Voila! You get a third tool both in the sequencer and in the piano roll editor. So here I have chosen the scissor tool because I often cut regions at, for example, here you can cut it, split, right that, like that. So that's the third secret shortcut. Let's get to the next one, which is, the fade tool. So let's say you have an audio clip like this one here, and you want to create a fade in and perhaps a fade out. Well, you can, of course, access the fade tool here by changing that, but you don't have to. You can go into Preferences, General, Editing, and then here, Fade Tool Click Zones. If you tick that box, and then when you hover your mouse at the upper left corner of an audio region, you can see the cursor changes here. Left click and drag, and voila, we have a fade in, which you can change as you want, and the same for the upper right corner, like so. And also a bonus tip here is if you hover your mouse at if you hover the mouse at the top of this fade here, you can change the timing of the fade, but you can also change the curve by hovering your mouse somewhere here in the top part, but not the actual peak of the line here. So you can see the cursor and then change it into a curve if you want that. The same here, like so. So that's the fourth secret shortcut. Let's get to the fifth shortcut, which is a Marquee tool that you can use. Of course, the Marquee tool, I have it personally here as the command tool, but you can actually access the Marquee tool click zones. Again, Preferences, General, let's see, Editing, and then Marquee tool click zones. And this means that you can actually access the Marquee tool depending on where your cursor are in relation to the an audio region. So as you can see, If I'm here, it's simply the main cursor. But if I go below the half height of any clip, look what happens. See that? The cursor changes to the Marquee tool. So you can actually get the Marquee tool super easy, but by simply hovering your mouse anywhere in the lower part of a clip and then make a selection, or you can even shift click here and make the selection for, let's say, all of these. And then if you double click here, you can actually split all of these at the same time, or however you want to use the Marquee tool. But basically, hover your mouse the lower part of any clip to use the Marquee tool like that. Okay, so let's get to the sixth shortcut, hidden shortcut, which is accessing the zoom tool. So the zoom tool, I believe it's here again. You don't have to change the tool. You can actually just hold down Control plus Option, and watch what happens with the cursor again. Zoom tool. Okay, so now you can simply select and drag out, and we'll zoom in on this section here. And a bonus tip here is if you hold down the, get the zoom tool again, Control Option, and just left click, it goes back to the previous setting. So this is a really good way of just want to check this part here of the audio form. All right, looks good. Hold down Control Option again to get the zoom tool, left click, and you get back. And you can actually do this in several steps. So zoom in here, zoom in even more, and then back, Control Option, left click once, left click twice, and you're back to the original zoom setting. So that is the zoom tool. And by the way, you can access it by only using Option out here in an empty area, but not in over a clip. That's why I recommend really learning the Control Option. Control Option will always access the zoom tool. And number 7, view instrument on track. This is a really cool trick. I just learned it, by the way, in a forum somewhere. And that is when you want to access, let's say, this plugin here on this channel, which is an organ, you can open up the track inspector, and then you have Omnisphere, and then double click here, and it opens this up, right? Okay. But what if you don't want to do that? You just want to open the instrument of the selected track. I didn't find a way to do this until I stumbled upon this trick. Simply hold down the Command key and then double click on the track icon, like so. Voila! And Omnisphere is up. Close that. Access this piano. Whoops. Like so. And we have a keyscape here. And you can do this on any track where you have a software instrument on it. And a final bonus tip is if you have like many regions at the same, or many plugins open at the same time. Let's say we have added a, well, I don't know, this one here, and you don't have this active, so you can actually have it deactivated to have multiple interfaces. I mean, this happens a lot to most of us, I guess. You have lots of plugins on screen. Well, then you can just close them by the X, and then the X here, and let's say you have another one. Let's do the fat effects here, and it's all in the way. You just want to get rid of everything. If you press V, you hide everything, and then V again, you view everything. But they are running in the background, the interfaces. So if you just want to close everything, hold down Shift and click here. And it closes everything. Now you can see there's no window open other than the sequencer there. If you want to master rhythm and percussion, chords and harmony, melody and themes, or perhaps sound design for your music, check out my special discounts in the video description below. Now choose which video you are going to watch next, or you can check out the amazing bonuses in the video description.